for November the 6th is entitled Power, Greed, and Faith. The key verse is John 16:33, which says, I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. The scripture is from Revelation 17, verses 1 through 18. The lesson focus, Christ, the Lamb, will be victorious. In the overview, it says that our focus today is the overcoming Lamb. Within that is the ability to overcome, given to all those who believe in the Lamb. Many situations in our lives feel insurmountable and confusing. As the passage says, this calls for a mind with wisdom. The goal of this lesson, therefore, is to gain more wisdom for the business of life. In the introduction, it says the vision in today's passage even astonished John. The angel said he would explain it, but the explanation still leaves us astonished. We must always bear in mind that John's revelation is a heavenly vision, a cosmic scene, an eternal view. Therefore, we must be careful to ask the correct questions if we are to get any helpful answers. In this lesson, then, we will focus on three main concepts: selfishness, power, and victory. In part 1, it says the great prostitute is the personification of selfishness, and the text is from Revelation 17, verses 1 through 6, which says, One of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls came and said to me, Come, I will show you the punishment of the great prostitute who sits by many waters. With her the kings of the earth committed adultery, and the inhabitants of the earth were intoxicated with the wine of her adulteries. Then this angel carried me away in the spirit into a wilderness. There I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast that was covered with blasphemous names and had 7 heads and 10 horns. The woman was dressed in purple and scarlet, and was glittering with gold, precious stones, and pearls. She held a golden cup in her hand, filled with abominable things and the filth of her adulteries. The name written on her forehead was a mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of prostitutes, and of the abominations of the earth. I saw that the woman was drunk with the blood of God's holy people, the blood of those who bore testimony to Jesus. When I saw her, I was greatly astonished. The heart of sin is selfishness. When we become consumed with ourselves, we cannot be aligned with God. This is the point of Genesis 3. It also explains Paul's emphasis on selflessness. Value others above yourselves, he wrote. Why would prostitution be the epitome of selfishness? Sexuality is a strong, vital, and central part of humanity. Human sexuality goes beyond instinct, beyond the need to survive. Our sexuality is an expression of who we are, created in God's image to give ourselves to one another. This is why Paul said sexual sin is internal, unlike all other sin, which is external. When we use sexuality to control others, or when we are so blinded by our passions that we lose the ability to live rationally, we are consumed with ourselves. We indulge in mystery. Life, as it has been revealed to us, is not interesting. We need more. We need to have the ultimate fantasy, unveil the ultimate experience. Reality is opposed to such thinking. Fantasy is a creation of our own minds, a mental idol. Since we seek the ultimate fantasy, we dress it in wealth, seeking the ease to pursue our selfish drives. We seek fortune as security for our lust. Babylon the Great was the wealthiest city in the ancient Near East at one time, not only housing wealth, but every pleasure imaginable, all available for the right price. When we live to have, work to buy, or give to receive, we enter into the realm of the mother of prostitutes. It is not simply a matter of committing sexual sin that is at stake. We must avoid seeking meaning in life by fulfilling our desires. The same is true of wealth. It is not simply a matter of not being rich. It is a matter of not using our wealth to oppress, subjugate, and manipulate others. Ultimately, selfishness, being self-absorbed, leads us into the realm of the mother of the abomination of the earth. When we see the oppression, the slavery, the poverty, and the genocide around the world in our time, it is difficult to imagine the abominations of the earth being anything else. Crimes against humanity cause the ground to cry out. Indeed, the great prostitute was drunk with the blood of God's holy people. The rest of the world was drunk with the wine of her adulteries. This is not simply a scene of religious persecution, or even just the martyrdom of Christians. This is a scene of selfish lies against selfless truth. While truth will be the victor, sometimes ultimate victory requires temporal sacrifice. Sometimes our best witness is not what we say, but how we live, looking not only to our own interests, but also to the interests of others. As the great prostitute rode on the back of the scarlet beast, so selfishness rides on the beast of power. In part 2, it says, compare temporal power versus eternal power. And the text is from Revelation 17, verses 7 through 14, which says, Then the angel said to me, Why are you astonished? I will explain to you the mystery of the woman and of the beast she rides, which has the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast which you saw once was, now is not, and yet will come up out of the abyss and go to its destruction. The inhabitants of the earth, whose names have not been written in the book of life from the creation of the world, will be astonished when they see the beast, because it once was, now is not, and yet will come. This calls for a mind with wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 hills on which the woman sits. They are also 7 kings. 5 have fallen. 1 is. The other has not yet come, but when he does come, he must remain for only a little while. The beast who once was, and now is not, is an 8th king. He belongs to the 7, and is going to his destruction. The 10 horns you saw are 10 kings who have not yet received a kingdom, but who for 1 hour will receive authority as kings along with the beast. They have one purpose, and will give their power and authority to the beast. They will wage war against the Lamb, but the Lamb will triumph over them, because he is Lord of lords, King of kings, and with him will be his called, chosen, and faithful followers. The key to understanding the beast of this passage is the description, once was, now is not, and yet will come. This is an intentional distinction from the description of Christ as him who is, and who was, and who is to come. The 2 descriptions subjugate temporal power to eternal power. That it once was speaks to humanity's tendency to look to past glories and try to reinstate them. That it is not is humanity's unwillingness to look beyond itself and the temporal world to find meaning. That it will come is the reality of the decline of the world in which everything is passing away. Even when the beast comes, it comes out of the abyss and goes to its destruction. Another distinction is found in the followers of the beast and the followers of the Lamb. The followers of the beast are astonished because time does not seem to apply to the beast. Even though centers of power are destroyed, there are always those waiting to establish new ones in their image. The carrot of power continually dangles in the face of humankind. However, those who follow the Lamb see things differently. They are called. They are constituted. They are faithful to the Lamb. For them, Time does not change. What is today is the same as yesterday and will be the same tomorrow. The fact that power changes hands within the human realm does not deter them from their task. The problem arises from the fact that the earth and its inhabitants are claimed by both the temporal power and the eternal power. Whenever two powers claim the same entity, the only result is war. There is something within the temporal power that knows it is temporal. The eternal power is also assured of its eternity. Those who must decide are the inhabitants of the earth. We must not make too much of the fact that the names of some of the inhabitants of the earth were not written into the book of life from the creation of the world. We must remember the point of the vision. Wickedness has never had a chance of success, while righteousness has never been threatened. Nevertheless, wickedness is on a constant search for power. Lord Acton said, "Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely." The beast is a personification of power, power that tries to free itself from the reign of God. It has but one purpose: to wage war against the Lamb. While the number of horns and the number of kings have led many to discuss their identities, the keys to understanding are not there. That the beast is going to his destruction, and that the 10 kings have power for only 1 hour, are the pertinent facts. Thus, the wisdom we need is the wisdom of patience, not to be confused by the constant jockeying for power that is in the world. While the description of the wicked is true, we must know that there is victory in Jesus. In part 3 it says, "The Lamb will be victorious," and the text is from Revelation 17 verses 15 through 18, which says, "Then the angel said to me, the waters you saw, where the prostitute sits, are peoples, multitudes, nations, and languages. The beast and the 10 horns you saw will hate the prostitute. They will bring her to ruin and leave her naked. They will eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For God has put it into their hearts to accomplish his purpose by agreeing to hand over to the beast their royal authority until God's words are fulfilled. The woman you saw is the great city that rules over the kings of the earth." Psalm 34, 21 and 22 says, "Evil will slay the wicked. The foes of the righteous will be condemned. The Lord will rescue his servants. No one who takes refuge in him will be condemned." Thus it is not surprising to see that the beast and the 10 horns turn on the prostitute, eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. Evil has only one path: destruction. This includes self-destruction. The gains made through wickedness cannot protect the wicked from themselves. Selfishness eventually consumes everything, and when all else is consumed, selfishness consumes itself. Many ask why God allows evil in the world. The point of this section is to remind us that evil stands defeated. However ugly it may make the world, it has no real power. God has given evil the only power it can have, the power to destroy itself. Here is where the righteous must continue to walk by faith and not by sight. The Lamb will overcome, not because of anything he does, but because of who he is. This is the difference. People who expect God to act in a certain manner in order to assure their belief do not understand who God is. The Lamb is the Lord of all creation. From this truth comes his victory. Again, this calls for a mind with wisdom. In today's life application, it says that it is said that the meaningful life is the examined life. Use the following steps to examine your life in light of this lesson. Firstly, list possible ways that you depend too much on the power and influence of this world. Secondly, list the ways in which you might be selfish. Third, Think about how you might determine your faith based on what God does for you. Fourth, list ways you can intentionally simplify your life. Fifth, list the things in your life you don't need and how your life would be different if you did not have them. And lastly, act on these lists.